destroyer comes alongside a cruiser in Great Bitter Lake on the Suez Canal in Egypt. It brings Ibn Saud, king of the 5 million people of Saudi Arabia, to a conference with President Roosevelt, stopping off here on his return from the Crimea conference. The destroyer has been decked out with rare carpets for the monarch. This 800-mile trip marks the first time that King Ibn Saud has ever left his native land. Colonel William Eddy, American minister to Saudi Arabia, accompanies the king and the official delegation of 48 members. The 70-year-old Ibn Saud goes aboard the cruiser to meet Mr. Roosevelt. In cordial conversation with Colonel Eddy as interpreter, the Saudi Arabian king and American president discuss mutual problems of trade and relations with Saudi Arabia. Welcomed aboard is Emperor of Ethiopia, Haile Selassie, whose homeland was first to be conquered by the Axis and the first liberated. He is greeted by the president and the president's daughter, Anna Roosevelt Bottager. Better communications and closer contact between Ethiopia and the Allies are stressed in the conference, following up Mr. Roosevelt's desire that heads of government should meet often to reach understanding of each other's problems. Full honors for a third royal visitor, Egypt's King Farouk, whom President Roosevelt had visited on his previous journey here for the Cairo conference. King of the great and strategic territory from which Nazi armies were thrown far back 3 years ago, Farouk's Egyptian government made a formal declaration of war on the Axis on February 26th. In extraordinarily intimate pictures, King Farouk and President Roosevelt talk over wartime and post-war problems. With the conclusion of these meetings with 3 important heads of states, Mr. Roosevelt nears the end of his historic 14,000-mile trip. Men and tanks of the United States 8th Army press on toward Manila, as from 3 directions, American forces converge on the great capital of the Philippines. The first prong of the drive against Manila comes straight down from Lingayen Gulf to the north, soon to be joined by these troops. Another spearhead swings out to flank the city from the east, and still a third drives up from the south, aided by paratroop attacks. Beating back Japanese delaying actions, the troops blast their way through. the main road to Manila, advanced units of the 37th Division, 6th Army cross a bridge under heavy fire. At an airfield near Olongapo, wrecked enemy planes and hangars show the fury of the attack. Soldiers clean up bombs planted as mines by the Japanese. And on every road that leads to Manila, troops move forward. Among the bravest are native guerrilla soldiers who never gave up the fight through 3 years of Japanese occupation. Joyful civilians hail the marching troops of the 1st United States Cavalry Division as they enter Manila's outskirts. Thirsty soldiers pause briefly at a recaptured brewery for a refreshing glass or helmet full of beer. Then, inside Manila, bitter fighting. More than 3 weeks of bloody struggle against a savage enemy. Battle for a park area where picking flowers is prohibited. The toll of wounded grows as enemy resistance flares up. Then a new enemy, fire. The Japanese had stocked warehouses with drums of gasoline, with explosive charges. After the Americans entered, they set them off. The flames begin to spread. New terror for the million-stricken people of Manila. As the enemy bombs continue to explode, civilians scatter and hasten to salvage a few personal treasures. The Japanese fight back fiercely, block after block. A soldier has time to give food to hungry children. Elsewhere, the discovery of one more sickening Japanese atrocity. Men, women, and children butchered by the enemy. New fires rage through the city as the battle rises to incredible fury in the assault on Intramuros, ancient walled city within Manila. An infantry company penetrates the inferno. To safety through a hail of enemy fire. Japanese are irresistibly driven back, and here natives who had collaborated with the enemy are brought in, a shameful few among millions of proud and loyal Filipinos. General MacArthur at a former Japanese prison is hailed by freed United Nations civilians. Liberation of the great Pacific city of Manila becomes a fact.
Since my return from Paris 2 weeks ago, I have been discussing, as you know, with Mr. Stettinius, the Secretary of State, with you, Mr. Clayton, the FEA, the War Shipping Administration, and the War Department, the urgent needs of France in supplies and in shipping necessary to transport them to France.
We have all learned through bitter experience that our enemies cannot be beaten unless all of us mobilize all our resources, military and civilian. Since the day of liberation, we have actually put France in a state of readiness for active participation in the war.
Our gold production has risen. Our manpower is organized. We have rebuilt bridges and railroads. Our factories are ready to produce.
I'm happy that our talks have been successfully concluded. As you know, Monsieur Monet, much has already been done. The President has announced that large quantities of armament will be provided to equip additional French troops. Tonnage has been allocated for the months of January, February, and March to carry supplies to France. It is our sincere hope that in March these allocations may be further increased. In addition, ships flying the French flag will be assigned to this run to the maximum possible extent. We are happy that France is now rejoining again with full force in this common battle, and the French people can count on our full cooperation.